Welcome to another episode of Waves of Wisdom. In this episode, I have a good friend of mine and global speaker, Mr. Kenneth Kwan, all the way from Singapore, joining me. Kenneth Kwan is a global speaker and author of Small Steps to Big Change. He has spoken to tens of thousands of leaders and executives in 40 countries from Denmark, South Africa to Indonesia, and here in our very own Maldives as well. Organizations like Singapore Airlines, AIA, Hilton, SingHealth and Coca Cola, and many more have engaged Kenneth to give keynotes, even though he speaks in large stages. At the end of the day, he is a proud daddy of 3 active kids, boys actually, and is proud that he taught them, his kids, to pee, lift in the toilet cover, and ride their bicycles. Welcome to the show, Kenneth.
Thank you.
Yes, Kenneth, it's really a pleasure to have you on my podcast, and we have known each other for many years now, and we have built this friendship through our professional speaking networks, and that's how we met at the first. And um, how is your work going at the moment?
Wow, it's amazing. What started off as a dream. I've been in business for 18 years already, and it's really exciting. I'm just so happy to get paid to do this. It's a dream job.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think that resonates very well with the theme of my podcast as well, which is actually Unretirable. We'll talk about it a bit later. So, to start with, uh, did you actually thought this would be your career in your early days of your life, or at the beginning of your career? How did you start your career actually? What were your interests when you finished school or college?
Right. So I started off here in the engineering world. Actually, I was a mechanical engineer. I was trained for it. You know, um, But the magic question that I had in my life was this the job that I want to do for the rest of my life? It's a simple question. I believe all adults have asked this question before. Is this what I want to do for the rest of my life, right? And I realized I couldn't answer it. And therefore I started looking out for something that I felt that what am I, that's really me, what's something that I stand for, what's something that I love to do. And of course, had a midlife crisis when I was a lot younger, uh, a lot more hair at that time. And over time, I managed to find out, and this is what I wanted to do. Yeah, I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to develop something from the scratch and then bring it out to the public. Take an idea, to go to market, and after that, um, and earn a living out of it. So that was very clear to me.
What made you actually a well-trained engineer who was in the corporate world to actually think of pivoting into speaking and training in this area?
It's, Sometimes I don't know where to begin. But um, I think you know that midlife crisis question that I shared with you earlier on, that helped me to think. But I wasn't sure exactly what to do. Right? Many people will just say, "Okay, I know I don't want to do this, but what can I do?" Right? So I took a lot of time. I took 1 year just to ask myself a very simple question: What's something that I'm good at? Or what's something when I say I'm good at it, it means I'm just a little bit better than most people. It doesn't mean that I'm fantastic at it. And what's something that I'm really interested in that I can start pursuing. So my background, although I was just trained like any other people, but I realized I have different values. While most of my friends, they are all looking out for high paying job, they want to climb the career ladder. my values were I wanted to do something that I felt that was me, there was a reflection of what I believed in. And it was a very different route, but it was also a very painful route, to quit your job, to just jump into something that is unknown, and then I lived on love and fresh air for 4 years. It means I didn't earn much money, a lot of fresh air.
Okay, so
And my wife supported my dream, she knew that it was very tough, but she just said, just go on, just go on and make it happen. Yeah. And over time, I became clear, that I could do certain things a lot better than most people. I could facilitate activities. I could teach a lot better than most people. And over time, that's where I realized that okay, this is something that I could do. I could had an unfair advantage, a competitive edge from rest of the people. And I started to just jump straight into it.
yeah. So, how old were you, or like at what stage of your career were you when you changed into this field? Yeah.
So I think I started the business at 27, really early, really, really. No, I worked only for 2.5 years, and at 27, I had this, I mean, before that, really, 26, I had this midlife crisis. 27, I made the decision to go, and after that, I've never looked back, And it's now 18 years in business, and I can say it's one of the most fulfilling decisions. It was very stressful. There were many nights I couldn't sleep. It was even to a point of time I remember when my wife asked me this magic question. Spouses, they're amazing, right? They just ask you the most pointed question. And she asked me, Kenneth, are you stressed? Because, for 4 nights I couldn't sleep well. I just couldn't sleep. I was just blaming the heat. The aircon wasn't good enough. But she asked me after the 4 days, are you stressed? And you know what's my answer to her? Just like any other guy, I said, of course not. And when she left, I cried. I cried bitterly because I knew that I was so stressed. I had a dream, but I didn't know how to make it happen. And I had to figure a way out. So yeah, it's tough. The beginning was tough, really, really tough. Yeah.
What was that dream like? You had you wanted to be independent. It was a matter of like independency, or you were searching for a meaning of your life or a purpose or something like that. What was that actually dream like?
Yeah. So I'll go back to values. Everyone has a certain set of values. What's important to them, right? So I valued the ability to follow a dream. So following my dreams is very, very important. And it was contrary to earning a stable paycheck. And and that's why I realized that it was so important that I needed to follow because I needed to be true to myself. I didn't want to do something that I could do, but I had no love for it. So that's why I knew that I had to quit my job and just start this. And that's a tough decision because not everyone is prepared for that. In the beginning, maybe being ignorant helps because I don't know much, and I didn't have much liabilities at the beginning. But it was a time where I just got married, and I remember I had a house to pay, bills to settle, and I was just living by just a couple of hundreds of dollars in Singapore, and that's very little. You can't just survive by a couple of hundreds of dollars. But with the 4 years, I realized that I could live on very little. So but once you're clear, it helps you a lot more. You're clear that you may not be exactly totally clear what you'd be doing, but you know that it's in line with your vision, right? That I want to start something. I believe that business is doable. The question is how I'm going to make it happen. I have no skill sets. No, I have nothing at all. But clarifying within myself what is something that I could do better and what's something that I could talk about frequently. Even if you don't pay me money, I'll just be excited to talk about. So that was a yardstick for me to find out what I really loved. And that was important in the beginning because you need to have a lot of passion and a dream, right? Or else it becomes really difficult right from the beginning. Yeah. So I think this has helped me sustain as well. Yeah.
I think you very correctly said it is the matter of having the passion and following your values as well as being very clear is very important. I think this is where most of the people find it challenging. How to get that clarity? So, what were you doing to get that clarity, or even now as a matter of practice to get more clarity into what you need to do in the future going forward? Is there any models you follow or any practices you do which you can share with our audience?
Yep. So if I just summarize everything, what I realized that I took a lot of time to just evaluate, do some self-evaluation, a lot of soul searching. And it helps a lot in the beginning because, I had a lot of time. Nobody hired me to do anything. So in the first few months, I was just evaluating and thinking. But here are some questions, for those who are really thinking through. What's something you're passionate about? What's something that you love to discover, talk about, that even if people don't pay you, you'll do it. And second thing is what do you think are some inherent skill sets that you have that you are really passionate about as well? So I realized I could facilitate, events. I could speak in front of public a lot better than most people, and I was a little bit entertaining in the stage as well. So all this was through my youth experience because I served in church, so I could facilitate, I could lead groups, and I knew that I was a lot better than most people. So all these things helped me to really reflect and think what was I really good at, and of course I just needed to marry the passion. And of course, the last thing is what's the skill sets, right? That I could develop along the way so that I can go to market quickly. Yeah. So all these took a bit of time. Um and 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 I guess because I had no skill sets, I just have a clarity. So it took me a few years to develop it and be very good. But the interesting thing about business is you don't have to be good in everything in the beginning. You just need to be really good at one thing in the beginning. Just one thing. And be very clear of that one thing. Be clear of what you will do and what you will not do as well.
Wonderful. I think that is where most of the people goes wrong because they try to become better at so many things at once when they start their business. So when they pivot on careers rather than going deep into one area, right?
It's true.
Uh, this word deep resonates with your company as well, which is deep impact. So tell us a little bit about the work you do at Deep Impact.
Yeah. So in the beginning, when I first started off, I did a lot of mindset change team building programs for the first 8 years. We were really good at it. I was fantastic. I could know how to watch behaviors, we catch the behaviors. I was very clear that this is what we stood for. And there are many things that we don't do. We don't run around the island taking photos, just having fun. I don't do any of those, but I work on the mindset of the people in the way they speak, the way they talk to each other. Are they collaborative? And of course, the activities have to be fun, but it has to be meaningful fun. It cannot be just rah rah, just mindset, but it has to equip people with very small skill sets that enable them to want to make a difference at work and be purposeful in our speech, thoughts, and actions. So that's the beginning. And over time, we pivoted. I had this strong desire that I didn't just want to work with um, on a team building alone. I just wanted to climb up um, the food chain. In really affecting organizations. My desire was to how do we change the culture of the organizations? How do we help organizations deliver better results? Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, we could do training, but the training must result in better skill sets, right? That you could deliver results, right? The end goal must always be results. So the question is, how do we do that? And for 8 years, first 8 years I've avoided it. I really wanted to learn, but I just didn't know how to do it. But after a while, I realized I developed the skill sets. I could realize that we could affect middle managers. Then after a while, I was more confident to affect head of departments, and after even C-suite and the rest of the whole organization. So right now we have the capability to work with large organizations to change their culture, to develop what we call solution-focused conversations at work, get people to think about possibilities. So that is used in change management and also leadership and culture building programs. Yeah, so that's what we offer right now.
Wonderful. And you also have written a book called Small Steps to Big Change. And the title itself is very impressive. And I also read through the book, and I found very useful tips and advices you have given, because I think as you started the book, even in the introduction, you mentioned that a lot of people had these very big dreams. And sometimes organizations also like to achieve like huge things, but they forget, or they don't try for, because I think the saying like you aim for the moon and you might end up among the stars, right? So that was that is the kind of mentality a lot of people have. But you got in a very thought provoking different perspective to this argument. Um, can you tell us a little bit about your book and the theme of it, and why you came up with this theme?
Yep. Yep. Thanks, yes, for mentioning this, the book, Small Steps to Big Changes. Um, the book is unique because we are here to solve specific problems that organizations face, right? Um, I don't know about your side, this, but in Singapore, and I believe in many organizations, every organization is facing change. Every single organization, the way they structure their businesses are changing. The way they go to market is changing. The way they serve their clients to create better services, and it's a competitive market as well. So change is an ever constant thing, right? It's tough to change because people's mindsets are not
And the constant in the business.
yeah, can't catch up to the changes. So with the evolution of AI, and then the way things are done is so different, and we find it difficult. So in my book, I share about how change can be optimistic rather than negative. So when you talk about change, those leaders are excited. They believe that things can be done. But the rest of the people just roll their eyes. They say, "Oh my goodness, more change is happening." But how do you create optimistic change? How do you get people to be excited about possibilities at work? Because I believe that for any change to happen, the people must first believe there are possibilities. And once they are excited about these possibilities, they start believing that maybe things can be different, right? And that's where we hold conversations around what works rather than what doesn't work. A lot of times in organizations, conversations can be very negative at times, like it's all talking about what's holding us back, some problems that we need to mitigate or talk about. And all meetings, discussions, committee meetings, even task force are all set up around problems. But what if we also focus on wins? What if we hold conversations around what are we doing to create success? What are we doing to systemize so that everyone can win a lot more? And these conversations tend to be a lot more motivational, and they get people excited about recreating wins rather than keep recreating the wheel, redesigning the wheel.
So basically, you took up away the focus from the problem to focus onto the solution, right?
Yeah, yeah. So there is a whole process where you get people to always think about, like for example, uh, we didn't grow to a big company by failing every day, right? There must be something they were doing correct. But why is it only some people are doing things correct? Can we systemize the win so that everyone can win and can win a lot faster? Because it's something that you've already done. So the question is, uh, I'm not saying we don't talk about failures. I'm just saying that we pay so much attention to failures that we keep talking about it. And that's why we are wondering why people are so, they don't have enough morale. It's because they're always talking about firefighting every day, problems. But there is no attention to what creates success. And how do we recreate the conditions for success and systemize it? And these are more motivational conversations.
Yeah. So basically, it is having the motivational conversations and right. And how if a person or an organization want to make changes, we have come across this rule called the 1% improvement, daily, and things like that. There are different frameworks. Can you share with some of the frameworks or models you have used in this book, which somebody can apply in their business or personal lives to improve themselves?
Yep, yep. So there are a few things, some basic ideas. Uh, in all conversations, when problems happen, usually we go diagnostic. We ask questions like what happened, who did it, how long has it been happening, right? It's very common. But when you ask these questions, what we call diagnostic questions, and you apply that to human beings all the time, human beings have emotions, and they might resist. It becomes a witch hunt. We blame people, and after that, you can't move forward. And if you think about this, it's a very engineering way of doing things. And I was trained as a mechanical engineer, so we go down root cause analysis, right?
Yeah.
Um, and while root cause analysis is useful, but when situations are in a complex manner where there's no single root cause or there's human emotions involved, you can't always use root cause analysis. It doesn't always give you the best or correct answers. So in this unique approach that we have, we do things very differently. We focus on the future orientation, what we call a preferred future. So so instead of going to the past, you are actually going towards the preferred future. And here are some questions that we can ask when problems happen. So we make statements like, I'm sure we didn't want this problem, right? I'm sure we wanted something better than this problem. I'm just curious, what do we want different and better? How will we notice that things are different and better? And what do we need to uh, start systemizing so that we achieve this better and difference faster. What's one small step we can take towards this new direction so that everyone can win rather than make mistakes. And you realize that the second conversation is more motivated. We are solving the same problem, but we are approaching it very differently, very differently. And the first problem, it goes down a blame game. It goes down whose fault is it, and then it ends off with a lot of frustrating discussion. But the second, which is future focus, talks about possibilities, talks about how do we create more wins, is highly motivational. So this is one of the key aspects of um from the book, the ideas from the book. How do you create a preferred future, and how do you move people quickly towards this new reality? Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I think it's very important that we take the emotional aspect of the organizational behavior as well when considering, like you mentioned.
Yep.
So, coming back to our theme of the podcast as well, I want because you are someone who has actually strived to find your passion, and then quite an early age, I would say, as you mentioned. Because most of the people will have this question only in their mid career or later part of their career only, they will start questioning him, what I'm going to do rest of the time, right? Or what I'm going to do when I retire.
E.
So, what is your thoughts around around retirement, or do you think you are at a stage where you have the choice whether to retire or not to retire?
Um, I think because of my dream, I don't think I'll be retiring a lot earlier. I have a very ambitious dream, and I feel that it's gonna supersede me more than just myself. It's gonna We have a dream to build a whole company. It's not gonna be easy, but it's a dream, right? It's a dream that I don't just want a career. I want it to really supersede me, and it's a lot bigger than me. I dream of great working environments where people get excited. They are always talking about what's going to be better and different, how they're going to make it happen. And if they have a simple idea and they realize that it's gonna happen, So that's the workplace that we want to create with people. So I think it's fine, just starting at any age. It's perfectly fine. When I was younger, it's a lot more difficult because I didn't have resources. I didn't have any idea what I was doing. no business plan, So if you think about it, the chances of failing is very high. And in fact, entrepreneurship, the success rate in Singapore is really, really low. It's if I'm not wrong, it was like 95% will fail in the first year itself. And after that, there'll be about 90% of those who pass or who succeeded right after the first year, 90% will fail after the next 5 years. So, statistically, once I was cleared out of that fifth year stage, I was like, okay, statistically we should survive, sir. Yeah. Um, but starting at whatever age doesn't really matter. Sometimes if you're older, it's fantastic, right? Because you have a lot of knowledge, you have experience. You don't start from zero. You start from a wealth of context, knowledge of certain things. It's just that probably you just need to go through the same process as I did, like redefining what's something that you could do better, what's something that you you feel that you are very, very passionate about. And this self-discovery is important for anyone who wants to start on this journey.
I think that's a very important tip. And what is there any preparation which people might have to do from your experiences of what you have done correctly or the lessons you have learned? Is there anything you can share with the people who are thinking of shifting this from from a stable career to maybe a unretirable career, what I call?
Yeah. I want to be consistent in my book, Small Steps to Big Changes, I will always, of course, we have big dreams, right? Everyone has dreams. Some are bigger than the others, and um, but what will be a small step? What will be something that you could start doing? For example, if I wanted to be a speaker, no, the question is, what will be some small speaking engagements that I could even try out? Try something, try a short message, uh, a short 30-minute message. Maybe I could even start out with students, I could give my time, volunteer in my kids' school, or just tell the principal, I got a strong message that I think will be useful for them when they grow up. And try speaking. Do something. Don't just stand there. Just be active in just pursuing. And when you try it out, you realize that sometimes it frightens you. But sometimes it just empowers you even further. And that's important because you will know certain when you start testing out your hypothesis, maybe I'm interested in this, and when you do more and more of it, then you realize I love it. I'm scared like crazy, but I just love it. That's how I started as well. I tried um a lot of facilitation. I could lead activities, I had strong facilitation skills and I could go through rather than just playing games. I could see human behavior, help them realize it on the spot. So that was something that I could do. And so all these small steps. So when I did a lot of projects last time for church groups and events, I could MC. I didn't have any substance, I didn't have any like skill sets, but I knew I could do it a lot better than most people. Just entertain and have fun, uh, handle groups really well, you know, speaking in front of a few hundred people, telling them instructions one time and it gets done rather than keep repeating myself again and again. So over time, I got more confident. And after a while, when I jumped into it, I didn't start from zero. I knew that I could start from somewhere. I was not the very best, but I knew that I wasn't the very worst. I already had something planned. So start diving into what's something that and just give yourself some time to try it. The problem with most people is they just look at other people and say, I want to be like Kenneth. I want to be like him. I want to earn the money that he's earning, you know. But you don't understand that I went through a long process of refining and getting better of that one skill, just that one skill. And after a while, I started developing another skill. After many, many, many years, that I could develop one more skill. So it takes time. Give yourself time. Give yourself a runway as well. And of course, talk to family members, talk to spouses as well. So you need to prepare them, right? If you're married, you need to tell um start start seeding ideas, because if you just tell them I want to quit my job, I can't do it anymore, they're gonna freak out, right? Because it's not just you in the whole equation, right? There's this whole discussion. And I was just telling my wife when I was a lot younger, wow, this trainer earned a lot of money, and this guy did follow his dream, and then over 1 year, and finally when I told her I wanted to do this, she somehow knew it was coming already. Yeah, and that seeding process is very important. So in short, focus on what are the small steps you can take to realize your passion, and of course, what kind of skill sets that is needed for this particular passion as well. And of course, the third thing will be talk to family members, talk to your own personal stakeholders. Yeah.
Yeah. Since you mentioned about your wife, I also met her when you visited Maldives couple of times. And I always see you traveling with her and working with her, and she's really by your side. And not only your life partner, but also your business partner. How is it like to have your wife as a business partner? This is not a scenario we see quite often.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually quite tough. No, it's actually quite tough. Yeah. But we have been around for 10 years. We're working for a decade together. Many people ask me, do you miss your wife? I say, I don't. Because I see her in the morning, the day, and the night. I see her every day. And we have learned how to work with each other as well. There are a lot of times we will disagree. It's frustrating, and we will just say the things. But we realize that it's very important that when you work with your spouse, you need to be very clear on your engagement, your style of engagement. And we are both very direct people. Um, if I don't like it, I'll just say I don't like it. Yeah, I just don't like it. But this is how we handle it. It's not for everyone. Some people rather keep it inside them, but we know that we need to say it out and express it, because if we don't say it,
Yeah.
we'll harbor resentment in our hearts. And we are very clear that we need to make sure that by that day we need to settle, the frustration by the night if possible, you know, and and this releases a lot of tension. But of course it affects my staff as well, because my staff will be like very stressed. Oh, why are my the two bosses, saying things?
To follow, right?
Yeah, but we tell them this how we handle disagreements. We need to say, and once we say it, we the stress is released, and after the next hour or two, it's okay already. Yeah. So being very self-aware, how do you handle this disagreements and frustrations is very.
I think you have got a great team, with you, your wife, and your team together. Because I have seen some how you work alongside. Uh, so Kenneth, we are coming towards end of our podcast, and one question I ask from every guest of mine is, what is that one wisdom which you'd like to share with our audience, which you have come across or which you have lived by in the past?
Yeah. I guess short nuggets, uh, and it's from my book, Small Steps to Big Changes. When you have a dream, most people have dreams. um, But the most important thing of following the dream is to how we figure out how we have that dream. We can turn that dream into reality. Because dreams don't feed you. We need to focus on a whole process of achieving that dream. But the best part is focus on small steps. Just put yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Where are you on this dream? And you can even scale your competency. Where are you on this competency? Where are you in gaining? What's the next small step you need to do, on the scale to just move one level up, just one level up. And it's very important to do this, because it's very easy to feel overwhelmed by the millions of things that you need to do. And you look at other people, you're saying this person is so successful, and why am I not? You know. But when you start comparing yourself, scaling yourself. If I'm a two, what needs to happen to just move to a three, in this particular area, in the way I market myself, in the way I discover my giftings, in the way I uh, develop the business, So And this is very easy because there are different areas. You can just focus on all the small action steps that needs to happen for you to move one level up. And this is important so that you can feel that you're progressing, things are getting better, and that you feel that, you're more in control rather than get paralyzed by the millions of things that you need to do. Yeah. So that's one thing I can encourage. Focus on what's the next small step and scale yourself and move.
I think that's a wonderful message and a very impactful way of looking at one's career or business. And having that bigger goal is fine, right? Yeah, have the long term vision is great. But then what you're saying is we have to break that down into small steps and try to be good at one thing at a time so that you become better over time.
That's right.
Right. Um, as last words, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience on this subject of following your passion and living with purpose and values are very important for you at the beginning? You mentioned anything you wanted to share on these lines.
Yeah, nothing much. It's just continue to take small steps. Don't get overwhelmed. Uh, Dream big. No, it's perfectly fine. But remember, everyone starts from somewhere. It's okay to start from one as well. One is still better than zero. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. It's been a pleasure and really I enjoyed this conversation today and I hope my audience is definitely going to love it. And I wish you all the success in the work you are doing and your big dream of actually you are dreaming beyond yourself to make a bigger impact in the uh, community and in organizations where people will concentrate very positively and work harmoniously and things like that. To our audience, uh, until we come back again, stay focused and take one step at a time and don't stay there. Take one step, like Kenneth have mentioned today. Until we come back, don't forget to be awesome. Thank you.